Hello, I'm Dr. Jerry Parrish. I'm the Chief Economist for the Florida Chamber Foundation, and welcome to this month's edition of Florida by the Numbers. Today I want to go over the new jobs numbers that we just received. I want to talk about Florida's agricultural industry and its exports. First, let's take a look at the Florida scorecard. On the front page of the Florida scorecard, you can see that once again, most metrics are green. That means Florida is moving in a positive direction. I want to show you a few specific tiles for a little more detail. You might notice that Florida's unemployment rate is now green. We were stuck at 3.9% unemployment rate for the last 8 months, but we've now dropped to 3.8%. Florida created 180,200 jobs over the past year. That's 2.1% growth rate compared to the U.S. rate of 1.6%. There are 242,500 jobs looking for people and 391,000 people looking for jobs. This is a continual reminder of the skills gap that we face in our state. Last year's Florida's exports, $55 billion. We'll talk more specifically about some of our exports later in this video. Let's take a closer look at the type of jobs created over the past year. You can see from this that construction had the highest growth rate, but manufacturing was number 2 at 3.3%. That's a great number because it shows Florida is further diversifying its economy. The next highest growth rate was professional business services at 3.0%. Now let's look at what other states are doing in these categories. When we look at overall jobs, Florida is creating more than 1 out of 14 jobs overall, but more than 1 in 10 in these categories: construction, financial activities, and leisure and hospitality. Now let's look at which states are in the top in these categories. When you look at all the categories, we can see the states who had the highest growth rate. In many cases, Florida produced more jobs in that category, but smaller states produced them at a higher rate. Interestingly, Florida had one of the lowest increases in government jobs in the country. We produced only 1 out of every 80.3 government jobs of all types. That's federal, state, and local. This slide shows job creation by metropolitan statistical area. You can see that the darker green the area, the higher growth rate was for jobs. 2 MSAs in Florida's Northwest are leading the way in growth rates. That's the Crestview-Fort Walton-Destin MSA and the Panama City MSA. When we break it down to individual counties, you can see which counties had the highest growth and the highest growth rate, and you can compare them against the U.S. rate and the Florida rate. We still have Monroe County and Collier County in negative territory compared to last year. They're both still recovering from Hurricane Irma. Overall, 12 Florida counties lost jobs last year. When we plot the counties that lost jobs, you can see that other than the 2 counties that are recovering from storm damage, the counties losing jobs are Florida's rural counties. This is happening all over the U.S. It's not limited to our state. When we put the MSA map beside the map of counties that lost jobs, it's easy to see that metro areas are doing well, but our rural areas and everyone else's in the country are losing jobs, and many of them are depopulating. We depend on our rural areas for much of our fresh fruits and vegetables, cattle, and other crops. These commodities and products are important in Florida's positive trade surplus, which helps Florida's economy and creates jobs. Here's a list of Florida's major agricultural commodity exports. Last year, Florida exported $4.1 billion in ag exports, up from $3.9 billion in 2016. You can see that meat, fruit and nuts, dairy products, and fish and shrimp are important to Florida's growers and fishermen. They're also important in Florida's trade and logistics industries. Thanks for joining me today for this edition of Florida by the Numbers. If you have any questions or comments, please contact me at the Florida Chamber Foundation. Thank you.